She said it like she was announcing the weather. Paint samples fanned in her hands. Soft blues, gentle greens, colors meant for new beginnings. My sister stood in my doorway like she owned the frame, like the room behind her wasn't still holding pieces of me. Old books, folded clothes, the dent on the wall from when I punched it at 16 and never fixed it. I was sitting on the edge of my bed when she said it. 26 years old, still at home, paying my parents $1,900 a month to exist quietly in the space I'd grown up in. "Where am I supposed to sleep?" I asked. Dad didn't even look up from his phone. "Figure it out," he said. "Family expands." Something inside me went cold. Not angry, not loud, cold. I stared at the paint samples as if they were evidence, pastel alibis. I remember thinking how carefully she'd chosen them, how long this had been planned without me. That was the moment I stopped being their child and became their problem. I packed a bag that night. No announcement, no slammed doors. I left the room exactly as it was, like a crime scene preserved. When I shut the door behind me, I already knew I wasn't coming back. The next morning, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Hey," the man said, "I'm at your parents' place. Contractor, just need to confirm who's paying. The invoice is $28,000. I smiled, and finally, everything made sense. I used to think loyalty was loud, that if you showed up enough, paid enough, stayed long enough, it would be returned to you. I was wrong. Loyalty in my family was just something they learned to spend. I moved back home at 22 after my job collapsed. Not a failure, just unlucky. My parents offered the room. Then came the temporary rent. Then came the increases. Every year more. I paid on time, always. No questions, no leverage. I told myself it was fair. I was an adult. Adults contribute. What I didn't see was how quickly contribution turned into entitlement. My sister moved back in when she got pregnant. No rent, no timeline, just congratulations and casseroles. Her husband showed up on weekends, ate my food, parked in my spot. They spoke about the house like it was already theirs. I kept my head down, paid my rent, stayed invisible. That was my mistake. They didn't ask me to move out. They didn't warn me. They didn't even pretend to negotiate. They just erased me from the floor plan. That doorway moment wasn't sudden, it was rehearsed. And when Dad shrugged me out of my own bed, something fragile finally broke. Not my heart, my patience. I didn't cry when I left. I didn't call friends. I checked into a cheap hotel near the highway and lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to cars pass like time, refusing to slow down. That's when I replayed the numbers. 26 years old, 4 years of rent once or $900 a month. I did the math twice to be sure. $91,000 paid to my parents for a room they now called the nursery. And then I remembered the contractor's question. Who's paying? The answer, apparently, was me. I'd overheard them weeks earlier, whispers about renovations, about finally doing it right. I assumed it was talk, dreaming. My mistake again. The invoice was in my name. Not fraud, not an accident. They told the contractor I was handling it because I always did. Except this time I wasn't there to nod along. The shift happened quietly. I didn't call my parents. I didn't confront my sister. I didn't storm back demanding respect. I did something better. I got organized. I requested my rental payment history, bank statements, emails, texts. I found the original renovation agreement, unsigned by me but full of my personal details, enough to show intent, enough to show assumption. Then I called the contractor back. "I'm not paying," I said calmly. There was a pause, papers shuffling. "They don't have the authority," I replied. "I moved out. I'm not a tenant. I never agreed. You can invoice them directly." Another pause, longer this time. "Work's already started." "I know," I said. "That's between them." I hung up before he could ask more. Silence is powerful when you know where to apply it. They noticed my absence by afternoon. Missed calls, texts that started confused and turned sharp. "Where are you?" The contractor needs confirmation. Call us now." I didn't respond. I waited until evening, until panic had time to firm it. Then I sent one message. "I've moved out. I'm not paying for renovations I didn't agree to. Please don't contact me again unless it's about returning my security deposit." My sister called immediately, screaming, crying, accusations stacked on top of each other like unstable furniture. "You're ruining this for us," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm opting out." My mother took the phone next. Her voice broke in that practiced way, hurt without responsibility. "You're tearing the family apart." I smiled again. Families that can be torn apart by a bill were already broken. The contractor stopped work the next morning. No payment, no authorization, no leverage. The walls stayed half-painted. Plastic sheets sagged from the ceiling. The nursery became a limbo, a monument to assumptions. That's when the real consequences arrived. My parents couldn't cover the cost. They'd planned to work it out later. Later had arrived early and brought receipts. They tried to pressure me, guilt me, threaten legal action. They didn't understand. I stayed calm, documented everything, forwarded emails to a lawyer friend who confirmed what I already knew. They had nothing except regret. The confrontation happened a week later. They asked to meet, neutral ground, a cafe near the house. I arrived early, sat with my coffee untouched. When they walked in, they looked smaller, older. My sister's eyes were swollen. Dad wouldn't meet my gaze. They started talking all at once. I let them. When the noise settled, I spoke. "I paid rent," I said, "more than market value. I was never consulted. You made financial decisions assuming my compliance. That ends now." Dad tried to interrupt. I raised a finger. He stopped. "I'm not your fallback plan," I continued. "I'm not your hidden account, and I'm not responsible for choices you made without me." My sister started crying again, loud this time. "What are we supposed to do?" she asked. I stood. "You'll figure it out," I said softly. "Family expands." I left cash on the table for my coffee. Old habits die hard. I didn't hear from them for months. When I did, it was different. Careful, polite, afraid to ask for anything. The renovation never finished. The baby slept in a borrowed crib in the living room. My parents downsized the house the following year. Quietly, I rented my own place, smaller, mine. The piece was expensive, but worth every dollar I'd stopped giving away. Sometimes revenge isn't fire and shouting. Sometimes it's just stepping aside and letting people face the weight of their own assumptions. They thought I'd always be there. I wasn't, and that absence taught them more than my presence ever did. The lesson was simply, boundaries aren't cruelty. Silence can be justice, and family doesn't get to grow by shrinking you. I sleep well now.